So this here is my very first microscope slide that I prepared in the year 1998. So almost 25 years ago as of the making of this film. And it's a pretty bad slide. And in this video today, I'd like to give you 3 recommendations so that you do not have to repeat the mistakes that I made when preparing microscope slides. Hi, hello, and welcome. Microbehunter here. Well, I've been involved in hobby microscopy now for quite a bit of time, and 25 years ago, when I bought myself my first microscope, I also started to prepare slides. And this insect here, it's a tiny little fly, was my very first specimen that I mounted. And actually now, 25 years later, looking at it under the microscope, it looks pretty bad. So look at this here. Yeah, it's very crushed. The contents of the insect have spilled out. I can actually show this to you here. When I turn on the arrow, you can see all of those structures here. They almost look like eggs here that might have spilled out. The wing here is completely folded back onto itself. The second wing is up here, barely visible. And when we look on the back side here, look, all of this stuff here on the back side, that's all basically the insect's contents that have spilled out because everything was crushed. And I'm still happy that the specimen is still as good as it is. It could be worse. At least it's stable, even though, it doesn't look very nice. And here, of course, the head of the insect, that is still probably one of the still better preserved parts. So actually, I can go up a little bit with the magnification, and then we can have a look at the head a little bit more. I would do a few things differently this time if I were to make another insect mounted slide, and I would like to share this with you. And the first thing that I would do differently is I would probably not mount the complete insect. I would actually first take it apart and mount the wings and the legs and all of the body parts separately, because this way they're much thinner, and this way they are also not cannot be crushed quite easily, and therefore they preserve their original shape better. A second possibility, if you do choose to mount the whole insect, is to actually make sure that there is sufficient space between the cover glass and the microscope slide. What I've done is I put the insect directly into the mounting medium, I drop the cover glass on top and I press down on it, and this of course had to crush the insect. I would actually use now spacers to lift up the cover glass a little bit and to give the insect a little bit more space, and probably also use a little bit more mounting medium, even if it takes longer to dry. More mounting medium also means that the cover glass has a little bit more space and is floating a little bit more on top of the mounting medium, and therefore this also gives the insect a little bit more vertical space. A second recommendation that I have, or a second improvement that I would do, is I would actually put the insect first into a little bit of alcohol. I've not done that. The insect has been directly mounted. I caught the insect and put it directly into the mounting medium. I don't even know if I would do that again like that. But I would put it first into alcohol. And the alcohol actually does 2 things. First of all, it does remove the water. And that's really important because the insects or specimens that still contain water are prone to decomposition. So bacteria and fungi will actually start to break down the specimen. And essentially, if you remove the water, you can also simply dry the insect, air dry it, and then mount it. It's also better. But if you put it into alcohol, and this will also remove the water, and those dehydrated specimens are much more stable. And the second thing that the alcohol does is it actually disinfects the specimen, and it will remove any bacteria and fungi that might decompose it. Do not forget that the mounting media, many mounting media are not water soluble. For example, here I used the mounting medium U-Kit. It's a very fast drying resin-based mounting medium, a very popular one. However, it does not allow water to evaporate easily. So it could be that if the specimen is too moist, that actually it's going to enclose the moisture inside the microscope slide. And then if actually bacteria start to decompose the specimen, then there is of course the possibility also of decomposition gases forming. And then you've got bubbles, and then this actually might lift the cover glass away, and and the specimen becomes unstable. And after all, when I prepare specimen, or when we prepare specimens, we want to make sure that the specimens are stable for many, many years to come, ideally for the next 100 years. It's very optimistic, but indeed there are microscope slides that have lasted over 100 years, also because quite a bit of energy and time has been invested in properly making sure that the specimen is sufficiently stable and dehydrated. So, and the third improvement that I would do is actually I would not use the same mounting medium. As I mentioned, I used U-Kit. For mounting insects, however, a much more common mounting medium would be the use of Euporol. And Euporol is very much liked by people who are studying insects because Euporol has one main advantage, and that is it starts to clear the specimen. There is a so-called clearing action. So the insects or little spiders or whatever you want to mount, they become more and more transparent over time. The mounting medium bleaches somehow the insect, and this makes it more bright and easier to observe. And in this case, even though I used Euporol, I think some kind of natural bleaching has also occurred because the insect is still relatively transparent, with the exception of the eyes, which are highly pigmented, of course. But you can also see over here the individual omatidia, which are the simple eyes of an insect. Yeah, and even look, let's turn on the arrow again here. Yeah, we can even see over here a little bit the antenna, of the insect. Yeah, and you see that essentially, there are a variety of ways on how the insect can be, or specimens can be improved. Indeed, the more specimens you mount, it's the same with every activity, the more practice you will gain. And another thing that's important is the more specimens that you mount, the higher the probability and the chance that some of them are actually also going to last for a long time, or that they might look very nice, because sometimes it's difficult to arrange those little critters in a way that they look nice under the microscope slide. And sometimes there's always a little bit of a breaking of the specimen happening, difficult to avoid. But the more specimens that you make, the higher the chance that one of them actually will be quite usable. I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that this video was informative. I wish you all the best. Happy microbe hunting as always. See you around next time. Bye bye.